You're listening to RTI Audio, powered by Rocky Top Insider. This is Pancakes and Bacon with VFL, Kyler Kervison, and Reed Bacon.
Hello, Vol Nation. Welcome to another episode of Pancakes and Bacon. I'm your host, as always, Kyler Kervison, joined with Reed Bacon. Got a great one today. We're talking Pro Day. We are talking this first scrimmage with Tennessee over the past weekend and what we heard from it, what we heard out of Pro Day from the different guys, what we heard out of Coach Heupel from the scrimmage and how it went. And we're kind of letting you in on a little behind the scenes of a coach talk. You know, they try and put that coach talk in there to hide the secrets, but we're able to find them a little bit. Before we jump into any of that, if you guys are watching, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a comment. We love answering the comments. If you're just listening, rate and review, download and re-download on all those platforms. It helps us so much. And make sure and follow us on all those platforms. Speaking of follow, also social media at Pancakes and Bacon for our main Twitter account, at rbacon26 Reed on Twitter, at Kyler Kervison on all social medias for myself. Let's just jump right on into this great podcast. All right, welcome in, everybody. Got another great podcast for you. We are talking about the Pro Day that just happened and also the scrimmage that just happened in Neyland over this past weekend. So we can kind of give you some insight there. We didn't get to go to the scrimmage, we'll say that, but saw some interviews, saw what happened at the scrimmage. We don't have numbers at the Pro Day, but we're going to talk about what some of the guys said and everything that kind of went on there and all the teams that were there. So, but before we get into any of that, Reed, how we doing, bud?
Kyler, hello. You studly man. As we do sometimes, we record back-to-back pods. So
that is true.
We will be wearing the exact same stuff. Kyler will be looking just as beautiful in our Jake Merck Linger film breakdown.
There you go.
But now we're talking, as Kyler said, and you said we didn't go. I'm glad you said, hey, we didn't go to the scrimmage. It's because you live in Nashville. So we don't want to just abuse all of our rights of going over there every time, every day, reporting.
Exactly.
I mean, Scott Altice.
I think they would catch on if we went every day, and they'd be like, Kyler, we're going to have to give you media credentials, and you can't talk about practice when you come. And
right.
We don't want that to happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Scott Altice is like, come on, Kyler, what are we doing here? Like, let's rein it in. But anyways, so we're going to talk a little bit of, some other stuff. We broke down Jake's film on a separate pod. But yeah, how was your weekend? Anything fun or special?
Nothing necessarily fun or special. I mean, just happy Easter to everybody. Hope they have a good one.
Happy Easter.
Yeah, coming up.
Oh yeah, this will be the pod that the people see before Easter, because then after that we'll record afterwards. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So happy Palm Sunday. Can say that.
There you go.
But yeah, just errands, cleaning up, moving some stuff around at the casa, switching out litter boxes, all that good stuff. Did take my two cats go get groomed yesterday. They do not like car rides. One of them threw up, so it's just a fun experience we got going here. But yeah, overall good weekend.
I mean, Kyler, just the 6'4", 260 unit that he is, and his two little kitty cats.
Oh yeah, they're adorable.
Adorable,
little girls.
Like Dr. Evil.
How about yourself?
Yeah, great weekend. I mentioned it a little bit on the pod that we just did about Jake, but yeah, it was a great weekend. So the girlfriend and I, Megan, and we went to Chesapeake's on Friday for our Lenten meal, and then went by, as I call him, Mr. J, Johnny O. So I went by John's house to pick up our RTI swag, which I absolutely love this polo. We got a zip up. I have your stuff in my car, so I'll get you that when you come in. And then, Saturday just hung out with Megan and went out to eat with my parents at Aubrey's, and it was great. So I got to see Tyler, our good buddy Tyler Williamson. He was on daddy duty by himself because Mari was gone for the day, and so he and I took Joey, his almost 3-year-old, and Colby, his 15-month-old, to breakfast. They wanted to go to Waffle House, so it was an experience. I'm sitting there, carving up, little Joey's waffle and feeding it to her, and just,
hey, Uncle Reed's here to help.
Uncle Reed's dominating. So we went there, and then we actually went to Sacred. We were going to go to Lakeshore, but Saturday it was so nice and it was so busy. We're like, let's just go to Sacred Heart, and had the whole playground to ourselves. And and then today it was nice. It was Palm Sunday Mass, which was great. And I went with Megan, and then her mom came with us, which her mom's awesome. I really enjoy spending that time and getting to know her better. So yeah, it was a great weekend. No complaints. And yeah, Easter will be coming up next Sunday. So I guess this will be the one that people see before Easter. I don't know when you're going to put them out, but yeah, happy, Good Friday and Easter Sunday. But let's talk. We didn't go. We can't just abuse Kyler's Vault for Lifeness and go to every scrimmage, every practice, and give everything. We do go to, a spring practice a year. We go to a fall camp every year. And then, we have our ways of trying to get some info if we want. But really, honestly, being part of RTI, Jack and Ryan and Rick, they're our go-tos now if we want to know stuff that when we don't get to see it for our own 2 eyes.
Exactly. And if there's anything that, we don't cover, we don't look over, like you can go on RTI's website. They are at every single event they can be, covering everything, taking videos, writing up articles. So, RTI.com, like you're going to get even more information. We're just kind of going to break down that information for you this week.
That's a good way to put it, because I wanted to hear about the scrimmage. And it's funny because you and I were planning on going to practice next week, and you and I are both like, please don't be a scrimmage. Please don't be a scrimmage. Because last year it wasn't fall camp. It was when we went to spring, and I think we showed up on a Saturday and it was a scrimmage. And most people were like, oh my gosh, a scrimmage would be better. No, Kyle and I like to see practice. We want to see the drills. You get to see more at a practice compared to a scrimmage.
Definitely. With a scrimmage, everything, it can be scripted. Things can be going in certain ways. In a practice, you have a certain amount of plays you're going to get to run. I'm going to see 5 plays in a row from these ones. In a scrimmage, it's, 3 and out. You're forced to get off the field. Next group comes in. You're like, well, I didn't get to see everything I wanted to.
Right. And you get to see more people at a practice, because it's like, what if I want to go and I want to see Nathan Lee Cox as a true freshman receiver? It's like, what if he's not, maybe he gets, 10 reps in this one period that they're doing, but like he gets 2 balls to him. Well, no, I'd rather go over and watch him get 7 reps of one-on-ones and you know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
Yeah. So it was funny, but yeah, they had their first scrimmage. I actually went immediately to YouTube and watched the post practice that RTI put up. And I was talking to you about it. It's the least shocking thing in the world. Like as former players, like whether it's fall camp, which means summer camp, training camp, or spring, the defense always dominates the first practice. The first scrimmage, always. It's never a fail. And I don't know if that's just because the offense isn't in sync yet, if it's a timing thing. I don't know what it is, but it's just like the defense, any football I've ever been around, the defense always eats up. And then scrimmage too, the offense makes a nice big jump.
Yeah, and I think, I think that's also because whoever's in the twos might not be as great, so it is a lot harder for the offense to get going. So then, like, when you're looking at it holistically, you're like, well, only one unit could do anything versus the defense. Then it can also go in where on offense, it is a lot more important for all 11 to be on the same page than it is on defense. That's just true. Like, on defense, you can have a dog at defensive end go make a sack, and
Rex
everybody else could be wrong, and he still get there.
Yeah.
So on offense, it's like if your right tackle isn't doing what he's supposed to, it's a sack, and it doesn't matter how well of a route that the wide receiver ran or a great chip that the running back did on the other side. It's like it's a sack. So that part of it runs into it. And then also, and this is from experience, the defensive coaches love to throw in new damn blitzes.
See, that's
twists on scrimmage day. They're like, they haven't seen this in practice. We're going to get their ass. I'm like, F you guys. We don't get to throw in new protections. Like we don't, all you're doing is making it very, very difficult on the offensive line. I always hated that because it's like, oh yeah, the offense is bad now. Or like, oh, the offensive line can't block. I'm like, well, I mean, they just threw in this freaking mega lord blitz over here out of nowhere. I haven't even seen it. It's not like I can study it on film.
And the offense isn't just going to be like, hey, you know what? Let's go with some. We're going to hit them with a lot of like trick plays or attack. A lot of offense nowadays is like, hey, this is what they like to do, so we're going to specifically attack this. Well, like, it's a scrimmage. Like, you're not, you know what I mean? Like, there's, if they're bringing out something new, you might not know how to attack it or whatever. So, the things that I caught off of Coach Hype, what he was saying, which there was obviously a coach speak in there, a lot of it. But the things that I picked up on was, hey, the energy and effort's great, which is not a surprise because spring practice, it really is it's like that spring practice first scrimmage is a big deal for a lot of people because it's the first full go time that you get to impress as a guy who's trying to earn a starting spot, who's a true freshman that just got here, who entered in, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like Tyler Barron, he's probably just excited to go out there because it's full go and he wants to go enjoy playing football. But it's like, we know who he is. We know what he's going to do. Exactly. But you got 18 new faces as freshmen and transfers or whatever coming in. And I promise you, as a competitor, they want to make those coaches know, hey, the scholarship offer that you gave me was worth it. I'm worth it. I'm better than this guy. Like, I can do this. So it's like, I remember even in high school, it was like you were still a sophomore school year, but when you got on that football field in spring practice, you're a junior. And that's a huge step. And the same thing, it's like you're a junior, but like on the football field, it's your senior and you're the top dog. So it's like, it's exciting time. It's fun. It's getting to be out there. And the other thing too about spring practice, which is nice, is like, it's not like fall camp for any football player. Everyone hates fall camp. Everyone hates summer camp. It's an absolute grind. It's still, when my fall camp or summer camp at Memphis, it's still one of the top 2 hardest things I've ever done in my entire life.
Dude, yeah.
And so
everyone goes through it. Every single guy who's first fall camp, like a few days into it, and you're like,
I'm
holy
quitting.
Shit, I woke up at 6 a.m. and I didn't get back to my bed until 10 p.m. And all throughout that day, I was eating, watching film, or practicing / working out.
Yeah.
And that's all you're doing all day.
Yeah.
Like after 3 days, you really start to think like, damn, am I football? Like, am I good enough to do this? Like long term? I don't know. Cause it's also, as you first start, you're messing up all the time. And that's all the coaches are saying to you is like, hey, do this better. Hey, you're sucking at this. Like, that's all a lot of the feedback you're getting. So, oh my God, it's so difficult. It is so difficult to just make it through a training camp like that. It's something else.
Hey, so my power just went out at the house. So you can't see me, can you?
I can barely see you. You're so dark right now.
Honestly, bro, I say I can go somewhere that it's like lighter, like so we can get natural light. But this power could be out for a long. It was out last night for like 6 or 7, 8 hours. No, excuse me, it was out for like 4 or 5 hours last night.
Oh goodness. I guess you can try and move to where like your window in your room so that we can see a little bit better, or we look at that. I can see you.
All right, let me just prop this up, and we're going. We'll make.
Hey, you just do what you need to do, and I'll keep talking. I'm gonna keep all this in because that was hilarious. Just you showing up in a black screen and power went out. I'm keeping it in.
All right. Well, you keep it in.
You set up your stuff. I'm gonna keep talking about spring practice.
Well,
So some of the other things like Reed hinted towards is, you can grab little nuggets out of the interview from Coach Heupel. Obviously, he's going to have that coach speak, but some of those little nuggets, he said in Nico's confidence and control of the offense that Nico played well, but to get better confidence and control of what he's doing. That's exactly the kind of thing that we said in the last pod is Nico's a great player. He can make the throws, but if you don't know to a T exactly what's going on in every aspect of the offense, you get out there, you start moving around, you're forgetting that a guy is coming on a dig. You don't realize that my left tackle isn't going to be picking up that blitzer. That like little stuff like that leaves your mind. You don't think of it. Hendon and now Joe have such a great understanding. It's like you see those things coming to you. You remember that, oh, I do have a guy out in the flat that I can hit. Nico's not there yet. So right now he is kind of going with the flow. He's just what's happening? Like, okay, I'm running this play, but I don't know exactly what's going on. So a lot of the times he's running instead of maybe hitting a guy in the flat where he could. He's handing it off to the running back when he could pull it and run for it himself. It's just little things like that. Something else that Coach said that you talked about in the Alabama game, you made it a point to say, didn't realize how many times Hendon escaped, how many times he had to escape, how many times he made plays with his feet. It's not necessarily he's getting set up to make plays with his feet, but it happens. And we said, I don't know if Joe is on the level that Hendon was on. I don't know if he is at the point Hendon was at when it comes to athleticism, when it comes to escapability. Joe is just a bigger dude. Like, he will be strong. He'll be like a Ben Roethlisberger in a way, but Ben wasn't escaping pockets. He wasn't running around before he threw. It was a lot just being strong in the pocket, which I think Joe can do. Now, Heupel said, hey, we just got to work on Joe a little bit at escaping. Just like understanding when a play is broken down and like, you just need to take off. You just need to do what you need to do. Like, don't try and, stand in the pocket and do all that. But it's difficult when the quarterback's not live. When you don't get that real feel of someone's coming down my back, someone's coming to get me, then that's when you're like, I got to get rid of this ball. I got to do something here.
Well, I think also that running that Hendon had, you got to remember, like, what's the biggest I'm trying to draw in a mind blank here. What's our biggest attribute or our biggest advantage? I'm sorry. What's our biggest advantage in offense? It's our speed. It's moving quick. Well, if you can't stay on schedule and if you can't kind of keep it running, so it's like Hendon drops back, he sees it, his first two aren't there. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna get 6 yards. I'm gonna get 3 yards. I'm at least gonna get something positive. And there's times where we've watched Joe and we've seen Joe and he holds it a little too long. And instead of just taking 3 yards, he ends up getting an incompletion or throwing it away, which me, I'm a big fan of throwing it away if you have to. But then there's no yardage, or you hold it too long and there's a sack. It's like, bro, get your 4 yards and let's just keep this thing moving, because the next play we might hand it off and it gets stuck too for 2 yards. But then that third down is when we hit a bomb over the top. Like, you got to keep it going. You got to keep the speed. So a couple other things that he said that we picked out is we were talking about with spring practice. So, like, obviously the energy and effort's there because everyone's excited. Everyone's ready to prove themselves as the next up and comer. It's the first time they've got to strap it on and get to go play because they've done damn mat drills They've done spring practice. Now they can go and cut loose and have fun. Everyone loves playing football, but everyone loves playing it. Not everyone necessarily loves practicing it.
That's very true.
But he said the energy and effort was great, but it's the first time that this team, as a old Butch Jones thing, team 170th hurry, this is the first time that this new team has all been together, and it's like, so you're building towards something for next year. It's like, it's great to hear the energy and efforts there, but it makes sense that the attention to detail, that there was probably a lot of mistakes. Then lastly, the thing that I picked up on his interview was like, they asked him which receiver, because obviously everyone wants to know, and he immediately says Squirrel White. And it's like, that's shocker to nobody, because we saw Squirrel White do it as a true freshman last year. It's so funny. I'm sitting here looking, I look like Two-Face from Batman. It's like,
that's true.
Yeah. So, but it's like that's surprising to absolutely no one. You know what I mean? Because it's like, we've seen Squirrel do it. We know how much of a dog he is. We know what he's going to come. And then he immediately goes to everyone that we've talked about, whether it's Caleb Webb. He actually says Chaz second, making some good plays. And then he threw in Nathan Leacock there towards the end of the scrimmage. So it's like, hey, those are the same guys that we've all thought about, but those aren't even, besides Squirrel. It's like, we're still not even talking about Brew and Dante, So that was good to hear. I'm trying to think if there's any other pieces. I'm glad you brought up the Nico part, because it is true. It's like, that's his first live, not live bullets, because he's in the red jersey. So it's like, he's not getting taken down, but these guys are getting to play and kneeling for the first time. They're getting to experience all that. So I mean, it's a lot of the stuff that I anticipated on hearing, some of the names that I anticipated on hearing, and I'm not shocked that the defense, played really well. And then we had the pro day.
Before we move into the pro day, I do want to point out a tweet that I quote tweeted that was of Alabama practice, and I literally was just like, "Wow, this is so boring," and it was just a throw to the corner of the end zone from Jalen Milroe to one of their wide receivers, whatever.
Catch.
I'm talking about the practice. Reed, and you can say this too, the practice we went to last weekend on that Saturday, how much fun those guys were having, how just the atmospheres felt great. It was all so positive. And then you literally just listen to that great throw, great catch in the corner of the end zone, gets both feet down, good competition, and everyone goes, "Oh." And that was it. That was it. It literally sounded like the most boring practice I've ever heard in my life. And I'm like, I guess that's just Nick Saban. But that, if I'm a recruit and I go to that practice, I'm like, wow, this really seems shitty. Practice seems like it sucks.
Well, a Bama fan or a Bama player would just come back and be like, hey, that's just us. We've been here before. We collect championships. We get rings. It's not a big deal for us. That's what they would say. But I've been a part of winning programs. I've been around losing programs. And, I can promise you can still win while having fun and getting excited and fired up for your teammate. So, yeah, it was a little weird that they posted that video. It's a hype video that was very not hype at all. And so it's funny that you saw that and pointed that out.
Yeah, it was very strange to me. I'm like nobody even was like, "Yay, good throw!" One person.
Well, there wasn't another receiver that came up to dap his buddy up. There wasn't some GA running to grab the ball and slapping him, being "good catch." You didn't hear people loud. You heard a little bit of loud noises, "Yay," but it wasn't I don't know. It was funny that you pointed that out.
Very strange. But yeah, let's hop into pro day. So great opportunity for the guys that didn't get to go to the combine. Big ones being Jerome Carvin, who still astounds me. I don't understand, why he didn't get an invite. I would have invited, obviously I'm biased, but I would have had him there. So it's a great opportunity from them actually getting to show everything. They said, representatives from all 32 teams are there. So got to see those guys. And then, this is a thing that, maybe not many people talk about, but like Jalen Hyatt being who he is, winning the Blitnikoff and, seen as a higher round helps Cedric Tillman because everyone's here to see Jalen Hyatt. Now they're looking at Cedric too. Darnell Wright moving up in the draft boards, everyone's there to see Darnell, but it also helps Jerome too. Now they're there and they can watch and see what Jerome can do, how he can move and his ability. So that kind of thing, I thought it was great that Hendon was there and threw. He's not throwing deep routes. He's not, doing routes on air, but he's standing and he's throwing. And then in his interview afterwards, he said, I talked to my doctor on Monday. He said I could be running straight lines in 3 weeks and I could be ready by next season. That is massive. That literally brings him from like a 3-4 round to a first, second round quarterback. If a team knows he will be ready in August, then they're going to be excited as hell.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Yeah, my camera angle just changed for whatever reason. I mean, we are having the most ridiculous of nonsense happening right now, so I apologize. I'm ready to get off this thing.
I know. It's just, hey, listen, it's part of it. We just gotta go with the flow. We gotta
snap and clear.
Oh my God. Things happen. They you can't do much about it. You just kind of got to flow with it.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. I mean, the camera just fell as I was saying that. I mean,
I know, but like, there's no way you can do about your power going out. And it's like, I don't want to cut off a podcast. I want everybody to get the info out there. So we keep rolling.
Snap and clear, right?
Snap and clear, baby. That's right.
It's the most
we just gave up a sack on the last play, but we got to keep going. It's only second down.
I know. Well, I'm gonna keep this short and sweet, anyways. But I think that's a great point that you mentioned about those guys being there, and those guys being there that it helps the other ones to bring the eyes in. Now, listen, we're still Tennessee. If Darnell said, "Hey, I'm not going through," or Jalen's not going through, Cedric and Jerome are still good enough on their own to come through and have plenty of people here. I loved seeing Vrabes there, and every picture you saw of Vrabes, that boy was like in it, man. He was there like working with Jerome.
He doesn't do anything half-assed. Like he wants to get in those drills.
Yeah, he's there with Darnell and Jerome. And as a Titans fan, I would not be upset if they drafted Darnell, even if they took him in we have an 11th pick overall. And like, listen, I feel so confident about him. And then like, obviously people that know a lot more about it than I do, but like, Louis Riddick coming out and saying, not only will Darnell be a starter year one, but he could be Pro Bowl, All Pro. And I'm like, I mean, that's a statement. I mean, that is a freaking statement. That's wild.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, so yeah, and some of the stuff that I saw, some of the clips I saw from, I think it was Jack and Ryan that were there, or no, it was Ryan and Rick. But like you said, it was great to see Hendon throwing. I got to see Jalen with the 3-cone drill. He looked better. I don't know his time, but he looked better than I thought he did.
He did.
I thought the 40s, like you said, Latrell looked like he was moving good. Jerome looked good. Ced looked good. Some of the routes I saw looked nice and crisp. I saw a couple things for Jeremy Banks, and he looked, they looked fine. So it's also good too for Jeremy, Darnell, Jalen, and Ced. Like they already put up something like a month ago, 3 weeks ago with the combine. So to come back and say, hey, because there are some guys like Darnell could have been like, I've already crushed it at the combine. I'm not doing it now, and he's still going first round. So it's like they showed that they're still going to go and compete and do what they need to do. So
yeah, exactly. And like guys like Latrell Bumpus who didn't get that opportunity, it's like
or Princeton Fant, yeah.
And I saw like a video of him running his 40. I thought he looked like pretty quick doing it. I did enjoy that 3-cone drill from Jalen. Actually getting to see that out of him, because that's always our concern is his agility, his side to side.
Yeah.
And he looked good.
It looked much better than I expected on his 3-cone drill. So
yeah, much better. There was also some film of Cedric and Jalen running their routes, And Jalen did a very good job of overemphasizing hand catching. We always talk about it on here and how hand catching is so important for wide receivers. He was going to make sure everyone saw, I'm hand catching these. I'm getting them good and pulling them in. Ced did the same thing. I think Ced, man, he just looks so powerful and smooth at the same time. I really think that whoever grabs him, it's a steal. I don't think he's, first rounder because he didn't play at all this year. He did, but not a lot. And then, it was a year, 2 years ago that he had his big season. So teams might not be big on him right now, but what a great add to a team.
You say that, and I feel the same about Ced, but I feel the same way about Jerome. If Jerome goes 5th, 6th, 7th, dude, a guy with that much production, that much caliber, he came out that he bummed his ankle and played through it all year like that. Dude, he's going to be – it's the same thing with some of the guys that were there when you first came in, but a Zach Fulton, a James Stone, some of these guys, and they weren't as highly touted as is Tiny Richardson or Juwan James. Juwan James went first round, but then you look up and it's like Zach Fulton or James Stone, or there's maybe another one I'm forgetting. It's like, oh, they played 6 years in the league. They played 7 years in the league, played 5 years in the league. It's like they had some nice-ass careers.
Oh, yeah. And Jerome literally has starts at center, starts at guard, didn't get starts at the other guard, but can play all three. He's going to be fine. Whoever grabs him is not going to let him go. He is way too valuable and such a smart dude, athletic, strong, and then can literally play all three interior positions. Yes, bring it on.
Right.
So super excited for him. Cannot wait. And then whenever he gets drafted, maybe we can get him on a little interview.
Jerome's great.
On the pod.
Jerome is great. One of my favorite people. Yeah, I loved interviewing him and Jacob. So, all right, I got to get off here because if I don't get off here now, I'm just gonna lose my mind. So
it's okay. It's okay.
I'm literally about to exit out, and you can do whatever you need to do.
All right, man.
See you, brother.
See ya. All right. Thank you guys for watching and listening. If you are watching, please subscribe, hit that notification bell. And leave a comment. We love answering the comments on YouTube. If you're just listening, rate and review, download and re-download. Follow us on those pages, whether you're on Apple, on Spotify, wherever. Make sure you're checking out the RTI.com website. That's where you can get everything Tennessee athletics. It's not just football. It's not just basketball. It's everything. Talk about everything. So make sure and check it out over there. Also, follow us on social media at Pancakes and Bacon on Twitter, at rbacon26reed, at Kyler Curbison for myself on all social medias. So appreciate those follows. And thank you, guys. Thank you for all the new people we have now who have started following us this week since we joined RTI. And then thank you for all the loyal listeners and watchers who have been with us for a long time. You guys are the reasons why we do this. So just appreciate you so much. And as always, go Vols.
You're listening to RTI Audio, powered by Rocky Top Insider.